everyone, Samhita here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the planets in Vedic astrology, where each planet is the strongest and weakest in, which sign each of them rule, and explore a few more astrological facts about each of them as well. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to be talking about the sun. Now, the sun rules Aries and Leo, and it is exalted in the sign of Aries and debilitated in the sign of Libra. Now, when I say exalted and debilitated, I mean where it is the strongest in is exalted. The position where it is exalted is basically where it is the strongest, and the position where it is debilitated is where it is the weakest. Now, the sun is strongest in Aries because the sun represents our personality, our sense of self, our soul, our life force energy, basically where our personality derives energy from. That is what our sun depicts. Now, our sun is exalted in Aries because Aries is the sign that puts itself first. And Libra, it's debilitated in because Libra is the sign that puts others first and then itself first. The sign of Libra is all about the other, and the sign of Aries is all about the self, because the self originates in the sign of Aries because it's the first zodiac sign of all the 12 zodiac signs. So the zodiac starts with Aries. So it's quite literally putting itself first. So it's the sign that depicts, you putting yourself first. So the sun is very comfortable here, it's very strong here. Aries is a sign that allows the sun to express itself and its individuality to the fullest. Libra, however, is the sign of the other. It rules the 7th house, is the 7th zodiac sign. And if you've seen the video about houses in astrology that I made first, I'll link it probably in the description below. If you've seen that video, you know what the 7th house is about. It's all about partnerships, it's all about relationships, the other person, it's about business. So essentially the sun isn't too comfortable here. It's only because your sense of self isn't really thriving, because you're all about the other person or other people or your relationships. So it essentially shifts the focus from your individuality, yourself, your personality to somebody else and some other people, and like your relationships. Now the sun rules Leo because Leo is also a sign that allows your personality to shine. It's quite literally a fire sign for one. Actually, the sun and the moon are not called planets, they're called luminaires. The sun is a star, the moon is a luminaire. So it's a luminaire whose element is fire, so it only makes sense that it feels at home in Leo. And Leo is also about expression, right? Leo is a lot about expressing oneself, creative abilities, the way we come across to other people, the warmth people feel because of us, ruling the 5th house, right? Going back to our house series. So all the characteristics of Leo match really well with the sun, putting yourself first, having the spotlight on you, your personality coming through and shining. So Leo is also another sign where the sun feels at home. It is the strongest in Aries, it is pretty good and comfortable in Leo, and it is debilitated in Libra. Now, having covered the sun, we can move on to the moon. The moon is strong in Cancer, exalted in Taurus, and debilitated in Scorpio. Now let's explore why. The moon is an emotional planet. The moon is a feminine planet. The moon depicts our inner world, our emotions, our sense of well-being, our sense of self, nourishment, our mother, etc., etc. So the moon is obviously really comfortable in the sign of Cancer because Cancer is a very nourishing, loving sign. Cancer is an emotional, watery sign, and the moon feels right at home here. The moon is exalted in Taurus, and the sign of Taurus is all about comfort and making oneself feel more comfortable. So the moon here, gets an extra emphasis on what it denotes the most, which is comfort and nourishment. Taurus essentially allows the moon to express its nourishment themes to the fullest, because Taurus is a sign, as an earth sign, as a sign that is ruled by Venus. Now I know you're gonna get confused. So there are signs that a planet rules and there are signs that a planet is exalted in. So Venus rules Taurus, but the moon is exalted in Taurus, if that makes sense. Like the moon is really strong here. Being a Venus ruled sign, Taurus is all about, acquiring materialistic things, wealth, money, etc., etc., comfort, food, etc., etc., solely to enhance nourishment and comfort in one's life. So yeah, the moon feels great here because all of moon's themes are well taken care of in Taurus. Now, why the moon is debilitated in Scorpio? Scorpio is not a sign of comfort. It is quite the opposite, and it is the opposite of Taurus. Now, if you'll notice that all the signs that are opposite in a chart, like first sign is Aries, 7th sign is Libra, second sign is Taurus, and eighth sign is Scorpio. These signs are 7 signs apart, and if you look at the birth chart system, these signs are called opposite signs. So we'll delve into signs and opposite signs and what that means in future videos. But all you need to know is that opposite signs are quite literally what the word denotes, which is opposite of one another. So Taurus is all about making itself comfortable. Scorpio is all about discomfort, transformation, going through discomfort in order to, you know, catalyze transformation, difficulty, harboring like mysterious energy. Scorpio is like a psychologically much more difficult sign. We all have like a deeper, darker side to us, which pretty much is denoted by our eighth house and our, you know, Scorpio placements, if any. So the moon here is not really that comfortable because essentially it's the sign that is against comfort. I will definitely delve into the depths of what each sign depicts and means in future videos. Scorpio is pretty intense. It's an intense sign. It's all about going through transformation, through difficulty and conquering our inner demons, our inner child, etc., etc. It's a lot. Moving on to Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini and is exalted in Virgo and is debilitated in Pisces. Now let's talk about why Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini solely because Gemini is a very, like, I want to know it all sign. It's an air sign, and again, if we go into depths about how to categorize air signs, water signs, earth signs, fire signs, air signs are the intellectuals. Air signs are all about, forward thinking, intellectual conversation. They're all about knowledge, the bigger picture. So Gemini as a sign is really curious, and it is curious about a lot of different things. So Mercury being the Mercury being the planet of analytical thinking, intellectual processes, communication, everything to do with the intellect, basically. It thrives in Gemini solely because Gemini is all about, being curious and gathering tidbits of information about different things. You'll notice that people with prominent Gemini placements love to have information about a lot of things. They might not deep dive into, like a particular subject unless they have like strong 8th house placements, but they love having overall knowledge about a lot of things. They're curious about a lot of things. They make for really witty conversationalists. So Mercury feels at home in the sign of Gemini that, represents communication, represents factoids of information, represents intellectual processes, etc., etc. In Virgo, however, Mercury is exalted solely because Virgo loves analytical processes. Virgo loves to organize and keep a routine, keep a planner, strategize, and like have like a systematic routine, which is the intellect's playground. Virgo allows the intellect to blossom solely because the intellect loves segregating. Our minds love distinguishing between A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We create systems to move through the world with Mercury. So Mercury feels more than at home in Virgo because Virgo is all about, like our daily routine, systematic organization, having an analytical mind. So yeah, the reason Mercury feels really weak in Pisces is because Virgo is all about these analytical processes. It's an earth sign. So there are tangible ways by which you could, segregate things and process things and intellectualize things, mathematics, etc., etc., tally numbers. All of that's very tangible. Pisces is a very intangible sign. It's depicted by the ocean. So what are you gonna, find tangible in the ocean? You can segregate land. Virgo is an earth sign. You can segregate land, but the ocean, what can you segregate? It's just water. You can't say, okay, this water belongs here, this water belongs here. No. Pisces is a sign of merging, and it's very otherworldly, very spiritual. So analytical and intellectual Mercury finds it a little difficult to function to the fullest in Pisces because Pisces Mercury might always have like out of grasp, out of reach concepts, and their intellects might not be as systematic or as clear cut and analytical and intellectual as Virgo. Pisces Mercury might be more, the logical reasoning aspect of Mercury is a little bit faltered because Pisces is not about logical reasoning as much as it's about spirituality, unboundedness, life after death, the esoteric, ethereal parts of existence. So that's why Mercury, being a very, like strong in an earth sign planet, is a little bit faltering when it comes to when it's put in Pisces. So that was Mercury. Next, we move to Venus. Now, Venus is all about materialistic pleasure, love, romance, wealth, creativity, basically everything that's connected to materialistic well-being. Venus is the planet, so that includes sensuality. Sexuality is Mars, but sensuality is Venus. Attraction, love, romance, all of these things that make us happy in our material world is depicted by Venus. Now, Venus is exalted in Pisces and debilitated in Virgo, and is at home in Taurus and Libra. Now, I'll tell you why Venus is debilitated in Virgo, because we just covered Virgo first. Love is not rational. Love is not practical. Virgo is a very practical sign. Mercury is all about practicality. But when it comes to Venus, it's not really all that practical. The matters of the heart follow no system. You cannot plan practically who to fall for. You cannot, rationalize feelings. You just feel the way you do for whatever reason. So Venus rules romance and love. And Venus doesn't function that well in a very practical, analytical sign. You cannot quantify, segregate something like love and comfort, like you cannot quantify something like love and comfort. But when it comes to handling wealth, like segregating finances, Venus in Virgo could be very good with finances. You never know. So, like, even if a planet is debilitated in a particular sign, that placement has its own unique set of attributes that might make it not very strong, but it sort of works when it comes in alignment with that particular person's personality. Someone who's really good with finances and accounts could have a Venus in Virgo. So, like, even debilitated placements can contribute to, someone's personality and what they do in their day-to-day life. Because with respect to the materialistic aspect of wealth and money, Venus in Virgo could really help that person segregate wealth and money. But when it comes to love, maybe not so much. But it has its own deal makers and deal breakers. We'll dive into those in future videos. I keep saying that, but we will. Venus in Taurus feels comfortable because Taurus is all about comfort. Taurus is all about how to increase comfort and feel the most comfortable. And how do you do that in this world? Is through having wealth. You have money, you can buy what you want to eat. You have money, you can buy the most comfortable couch for your living room. Taurus is all about material wealth to ensure that the native is comfortable. So Venus feels at home in Taurus because Taurus is all about that material gain. And Libra is all about relationships. It's all about partnerships, business. We talked about how Libra is about the other. Libra is always about, relationships and romance and sensuality, everything that makes Venus what Venus is, thrives in a sign like Libra, because Libra is all about building and maintaining connection. So yeah, that's why Venus feels at home in Taurus and Libra. In Pisces, Pisces is a very abundant sign, again because of the ocean. The ocean is abundant. So when it comes to Venus being in Pisces, it amplifies the qualities of Venus. So love and, materialistic gain somehow gets this sort of abundance in Pisces. But the thing about this is it's not like, it's kind of like esoteric abundance. It gives that particular placement the ability to allow wealth and pleasure and sensuality to flow through the person to other people. Venus feels really strong in Pisces because Venus's qualities are like expanded into abundance in Pisces. However, the native with displacement never keeps or holds on to that, pleasure, sensuality, or abundance. They always give it away. It becomes a channel. Like, you have that much of abundance, you're bound to like share it with other people. Venus in Pisces is a very I have so much so I can give it away sign. So exaltation has its own set of limitations because it's like the intensified energy of that particular planet. So it's not like, exaltation is like, oh, the person with this particular placement has so much of power in this area. They do, but it needs to be managed. It has its own set of limitations. For example, having a lot of money gives you a lot of freedom, but also gives you a lot to worry about because you have a lot to lose. You know what I'm saying? This was a bad example, but pretty much you get the gist of what I was trying to say. Coming to the next planet, Mars. Mars rules physicality, sexuality, how we take action. It's a fiery planet. It's all about how we make our way and move through the world. It represents aggression, our anger, etc., etc. So if you think martial arts, you think planet Mars, basically. So having said that, Mars rules Scorpio, Aries, and is exalted in Capricorn. Interesting. And it's debilitated in Cancer. So let's talk about why it is debilitated in Cancer, because that's the first thing coming into my head. Cancer is a very loving, caring, nurturing sign, and Mars is a very harsh, go-getting sort of I will pave my way through the world kind of planet. Cancer energy is a little too docile for Mars to be at its fullest expression. Cancer is a very emotional sign, and Mars is a very no nonsense, have to take action kind of planet. That's why it does really well in Aries, because as a fire sign, Aries is a go getter. Aries will do what is supposed to be done without any emotions attached to it too much. Mars does well in Aries because Aries can think for itself and, take action as per necessary. In Scorpio, Mars energy is strong because Scorpio can take action, but it's more clandestine. Aries will charge towards you head first. It's the ram, right? It will charge towards you head first to take action. Scorpio will hide until it's time to strike. There's a lot of intensity with the way Scorpio takes action, and Mars feels really strong in Scorpio because Mars gathers a lot of energy in Scorpio and it builds up, builds up, builds up till the moment it's supposed to use that energy. So Mars is strong in Scorpio, so it rules Scorpio as well. Now in Capricorn, the sign of our career, an earth sign that builds from ground up, a sign that rules the 10th house, Mars is the ability to take action. So when we take action towards our careers, we excel. Naturally, this planet is exalted in Capricorn. In Capricorn, it gives this planet the ability to express the need to take action aggressively and pursue dreams. When I say aggressively, I mean, effectively as well. Also make it to the top, make it to, desired goals. So it's strong in Capricorn because Mars is given the freedom to take action, and Capricorn energy is all about building, creating, climbing up the career ladder. So Mars does well there. We move on to Saturn. Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn, is debilitated in Aries, and is exalted in Libra. Now Saturn is all about your duty towards society. That's why it rules the Samhita chart, which is the career chart, which we'll get into in further videos. But Saturn is all about your obligation to society. What are you doing with the life you've been gifted? How are you being disciplined? How are you taking charge? How are you doing the service that you need to be doing? Saturn is a very service oriented, duty oriented planet, not sign, sorry. It's a planet that reminds you of your purpose, and not in a very optimistic sort of way. It reminds you of your purpose in a very diligent, strict teacher kind of way. So Saturn rules Aquarius naturally, because Aquarius is the sign that is about networks, about organizations, about people at a large, the collective, right? So Saturn does really well here solely because Saturn's focus is not on the individual self, it's about people, it's about your duty to society, it's about society. So Aquarius, is all about that. Capricorn, again, Saturn rules because Capricorn is the sign of your career. Capricorn energy is all about, your career and your path. Ooh, fireworks. Capricorn energy is all about, your career, and Saturn's all for that because it is through your career that you're going to serve the society. So Saturn rules Capricorn as well. Saturn is exalted in Libra because, again, Libra is all about the other person, and the more we think about other people, the more we'll be motivated to serve people and serve society. And Saturn's all about service. Saturn in Libra can make you a very service-oriented person as well. So Saturn feels really strong in Libra, so it's exalted over there. And naturally, because Aries is all about the self, it's all about the identity of the person. It's the first sign where individuality originates. Saturn is the weakest there because Saturn's tendency in nature to be more about the big picture, to be more duty oriented towards society, to be more like, hey, you were born for a reason, what is that reason, go find it and go do it, go fulfill that reason. Kind of fails in Aries energy. Aries is more about developing self and individuality more. Saturn in this sign can push you towards a lot of self-development in order for you to serve society. So it could be an inverted win, as debilitation always somehow is. It always gives you good results in a twisted way, even though the energies are conflicting. Moving on to Jupiter, which is the final planet I will not be doing the nodes of the moon, which is the north node and south node, also known as Rahu and Ketu, because Rahu and Ketu deserve a separate video of their own, like with in-depth analysis and everything. But I will get to that in another video. But the last video being Jupiter, I mean, the last planet being Jupiter. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer and debilitated in Capricorn, and Jupiter also rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Jupiter is a spiritual planet. It's also the planet of a guru or the guru. It's called guru in Vedic astrology. It's the planet of the guru. It's all about larger than life ideals, sattvic expansion. So Rahu, which is the north node of the moon, is malefic expansion, whereas Jupiter is, benefic expansion. We'll delve into that in further videos, I promise. But Jupiter is all about that feeling of optimism, philosophy, growth, spirituality. So naturally, in the sign of Pisces, it feels at home. It feels at home in a sign that is all about the other world, spirituality, the big picture, life after death, life beyond, death, and things like that. Pisces is a very spiritual sign, so Jupiter thrives here. Also, Sagittarius is a very macro sign. Like, there's micro and then there's macro. Gemini is very micro because Gemini is all about factoids and stuff, which is the opposite of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about the big picture of things. So it's a very optimistic sign. It's a very, like open-hearted, adventurous sign. So naturally, in this expansive sign, Jupiter's expansive qualities come to the forefront and they feel at home. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer because Jupiter is all about providing that feeling of optimism and happiness and the sense of being lucky, feeling lucky. And Cancer being a sign of nourishment and giving you what you need to feel fulfilled and happy. That's why Jupiter feels really at home in the sign of Cancer, and its ability to preach and give more nourishing people through knowledge, through philosophy, is much, much more welcomed in the sign of Cancer, the energy of Cancer, because Cancer again is all about, nurturing, giving. So Jupiter here does wonders. Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn solely because Capricorn is a very systematic, I have to get from here to here energy. In order for that to happen, I need to work hard. So you don't naturally expect someone who's working towards a goal to always feel optimistic and happy and focus on the big picture. No, hard work sometimes is tedious. It, sometimes hard work sucks that energy from us, and it's a very, it requires discipline, dedication. And Jupiter is not really comfortable being in that energy all the time, because Jupiter is about what makes you feel lighthearted, expansive, being in an open space with nature in front of you. That's what Sagittarius is about a lot. So, and Pisces, the ocean. So in Capricorn, Jupiter is kind of restricted in its expression of energy because Capricorn is about nothing doing. We're not focusing on feeling good right now. We're focusing on doing what it takes to get where we want to be. We're focusing on putting in the work. So Jupiter will not really, again, Jupiter in Capricorn has its own benefits. You know what I mean? It's not strongest in the sign, but it still gives quite great unexpected results in a twisted way. Like, debilitation is not always bad. Exaltation is not always amazing. That's what we've learned from all this. They just give different abilities to people, different energies. So yeah, having said that, I think that's it for all the planets other than Rahu and Ketu, which I will cover, I promise. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, hit the like button. Both of those things are the same. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so we can stay connected, and I will see you next time. Leave a comment below. I'm jumbled today. I will see you next time. Bye.